Episode 3 of Frosty Dungeons. Last we left our heroes, they had been making a canine pal out of a winter wolf, and they'd all been exposed to the stormy weather because the winter wolf had torn away the tents. So they have the icy cold winds blowing away their warmth. The fire has gone out because the shelter from the tent is gone. There is a moment when the size of the wolf is in debate because Curve's player, Jonah, calls the winter wolf huge, and in D&D there are size categories. The winter wolf is in actuality, in D&D terms, a large creature. It is clarified that the winter wolf ripping up Bundigong's tent created airflow that does not give a fire enough shelter in the blizzard to keep going. Bundigong is in the elements and not happy that he's there. Chime Whisperer is cuddled close to Kriv to keep warm, because Kriv is a great source of fire. And the winter wolf is chilling in the blizzard, not looking too affected by the cold or the wind or the snow. It may as well be sunshiny with partly cloudy skies because this winter wolf is just not affected by it. Aaron is actually unconscious in the snow, because the player was not there. Winter and Finesse wrap Aaron up in a couple blankets. Finesse rolled a medicine check, but could not determine why the elf had gone unconscious. Kriv is using prestidigitation and control fire to keep Chime and Aaron warm. Kriv is getting annoyed, so he shouts to Winter and Finesse to do something about the wolf so that they can find some shelter. He calls them pussies because he's keeping everyone warm and they're not doing anything. The winter wolf is observing them, panting with blue wisps of fog leaving its jowls. Its eyes are bright shiny ice blue. Finesse says in response to Quinn that they're still trying to figure out what to say to the wolf, and if he's in such a hurry, he can talk to the wolf. Kriv states that he hit the winter wolf in the face with magic missiles, so the winter wolf is probably not going to listen to him. Winter pleads with the winter wolf to assist them, and the winter wolf would lean down, and the winter wolf would sniff Winter. Winter is just trying not to show any fear in this moment. My companions and I are not going to survive this cold. Bribing with promises of food and meats from hunting, Winter requests that the winter wolf help them get to shelter. Because the party had fed the winter wolf, it agrees to help them find shelter. The winter wolf then sniffs the air and turns south and starts walking into the blizzard. Winter would call back the wolf to help carry people. The winter wolf would turn around and huff, blue fog rolling out of its mouth, but it would come back. Finesse also offers meat after he's hunted, and he would keep the pelts. And the winter wolf would also take this deal. Of the 10 good berries that Winter had summoned, the winter wolf had 1, Finesse got 4, I've got 1, and then Winter had 3 left. I believe Aaron had 1 too. Bunny's looking at them like they're kind of crazy and asking if they're seriously thinking about following a winter wolf into a blizzard. Kriv looks to Bundigong and says, "You can do what you want to be our only option." And he carries Aaron to Winter to put Aaron on Winter's back. Bundy looks a bit frustrated, but between shelter and freezing to death, he'll take the shelter. He's not making a huge complaint about it. Finesse actually asks the winter wolf if he has a name. The winter wolf would turn its great head, lean in. The winter wolf would say, "I am Best Boy." With everyone ready to travel, Best Boy travels on, as if this is daily life in a storm. Best Boy and Winter are carrying Aaron and Kriv, Chime Whisperer and Finesse, and Bundy is walking. I can't even make a commentary because right now he is a horse. He's okay. He's just a little horse. And the DM got more inspiration for that, so I'm up to 2. The weather outside is awful. The cold wind is blowing. The snow is coming down. They travel, foot after foot after foot. Finesse, being a creature that is resistant to the cold, is okay from the cold elements. However, Kriv and Winter are not creatures of cold resistant. Kriv finds the fire within his bloodline and it powers him through that cold. However, Winter, the storm is just blowing straight through his fur and into his skin, suffering a point of exhaustion, which makes everything uncomfortable and terrible. Finesse, like Best Boy, totally made for these conditions. Kriv is all about keeping Chime and Aaron warm with control flame and prestidigitation. For traveling purposes, Best Boy is carrying Finesse and Chime. Winter is carrying Kriv and Aaron. Bundy is walking. Best Boy brings them to a giant's corpse in the snow. To pay homage to an old comrade. Best Boy bows his head in respect. The giant's corpse is frozen. It is missing its upper portion and brain matter. Both its right arm and leg have been removed from the body, 20 feet long. Because of Finesse's recent level, he knows giant stuff. So what Finesse knows about the frost giants use winter wolves as companions and guard dogs. And having a winter wolf is very beneficial when living in the tundra. That's why his name is Best Boy. Was this giant Best Boy's master? Could be so sad. Finesse to Best Boy. "Friend, did you know this great soul?" Best Boy would nod and say, "Comrade." Finding out about the burial rites of giants, Finesse has learned a great history. Frost giants are very naturalistic. Food goes to the hunted. They would simply say their rites and let the bodies of their comrades go to the wilderness. Because something out there needs to eat, the frost giants would probably religiously speak to Aguta, the tundra goddess. Aguta. Giants are a race that sees strength as everything, and if you're just not strong enough to survive in the wild, something else is gonna eat you. Best Boy stopping by more than once shows that he had been companions with this giant for a long time. Observing this dead frost giant, they would see that the arm is frozen in a curled up position, in a way that could suggest that something about the size of Big Boy could have curled himself upon the chest with his big massive body and head, and laid there until the body froze into place. Oh, it's like Simba and Mufasa, only frozen, and I hate it. With the limbs being not on the corpse, but Best Boy is still hunting for food, would indicate that Best Boy did not feast from the corpse, but chose instead to look for food elsewhere. So what I'm hearing is, free dog. So it could logically be said that Best Boy, having lost a hunting companion, has been looking for new hunting companions, and him being offered food that has been hunted, totally up his alley. Winter finds a necklace with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple beads on it. Kriv in the snow finds a staff. Finesse in the snow finds an axe. And Kriv goes to Best Boy to comfort him. Kriv outstretches his arm, and Best Boy leans into it. Kriv is offering comfort, Best Boy is accepting it. Kriv freaks for half a second, and then he just starts petting Best Boy. Kriv would see Best Boy's log-sized tail start to wag. They're bonding. Kriv would feed Boy a bunny bun. This huge, wet, cold tongue would go up Kriv's hand and take the bunny bun from it, and then Kriv would use prestidigitation to heat up that side of his body again. My focus is just petting this winter wolf for a while. Bonding! Internal monologue of Kriv going, I hit you in the face! I had no clue this was going on! Side note to not tell the DM numbers in other languages. Just keep the numbers in English. Aggressive bonding! As aggressive as Kriv is being affectionate, he has not yet found that spot that will make a dog roll over and declare wanting a belly rub. Under Best Boy's fur is very warm. Time is also staying on Best Boy because Best Boy is warm under the fur. As a horse, Winter is getting a little impatient and wanting to find shelter. Understandable because he has 1 point of exhaustion. Kriv secures his stick to his backpack and suggests that they move to a space where they will not die in the blizzard. Bundy Gong agrees with the impatient horse that they should find shelter. Best Boy would lead on. In the next situation of travel, Winter is still horse. Finesse is riding Winter, and Aaron is on Winter's back as well. On Best Boy is Kriv and Chime. Chime huddles up to Kriv because he's warm. So, Kriv is a source of heat, and boom, Chime is all about that right now. Winter has declared that he has the worst bit ever in his mouth, and that is the necklace of 6 colorful beads. And during their travel, Winter gains 1 more level of exhaustion from the blizzard. And about that time, Winter's beast shifting taps out at the hour. But also, luckily at that time, they reach a point in the storm where they see, perhaps, what is it? Maybe an opening to a cave through the snow. Everyone goes to the cave for shelter. Kriv's intentions for the future is to befriend Best Boy. Finesse decides to scout ahead into the cave to see if there's any dangers. Kriv delivers another bunny bun to that cold tongue, and that bunny bun goes to Best Boy's belly. Meanwhile, Finesse is scouting ahead into the cave, and he sees a humanoid shape. So Best Boy would have a happy, panting expression on its face. This is now a happy Best Boy. He is not stealthing. He is securing a shelter for his party. He sees this Pengu Kenku in this cave. The rest of the party does make it into the cave for shelter, and Finesse waves for them to wait there while he follows the creature. Best Boy enters the cave and sits his butt down. Chime Whispers flies off the back of the wolf like, oh, it's warm. Kriv carries Aaron into the cave since Aaron is still unconscious. Kriv starts breaking his torches to make a fire for everyone. The mouth of the cave is about 35 feet up, 60 feet wide, so it could incorporate some very large creatures. The party has shuffled to the left of the cave to prop Aaron up against the wall, have a small fire going, and everyone just crowding and trying to keep as warm as possible in the new shelter. Except Finesse. And as Finesse follows this one creature, this Pengu Kengu, there starts becoming more of them in the cave. The Pengu Kengu, just in the amount they grow, there's 5, 10, 15, 20 more start coming out. The Finesse starts seeing. Only one Pengu Kengu is armed with a fishing spear, but they're still just coming out in mass quantity right now. Finesse puts his weapon away, and he raises his hands and says, I mean you no harm. And it takes a moment, but they all mimic Finesse. So a wave of 20 Pengu Kengu raise their arms, and they squawk back, I mean you no harm! The Pengu Kengu are all filtering out of a choke point in the ice, to the right of the cave. The Pengu Kengu are coming out in a formulated line, like a train, from a choke point. They have to squeeze through this opening. And about this time, there's about 50 of them. So the Pengu Kengu are coming out of the right of the cave, and Finesse has learned that there's a left side of the cave, and Finesse takes out his weapons, and he goes to stealthily explore the left cave, alone. Finesse is traveling along a long wall of ice and glacier, and in the ice, Finesse would find gold pieces about 3 or 4 inches into the ice walls and floor. He sees them with dark vision. So in grayscale, black to white. He continuously finds more and more gold pieces in the ice. It's as if somebody has thrown out the coins and then covered them with clear ice. None of the Pengu Kengu have followed Finesse. It's very quiet after meeting the Kengu. Finesse comes to a point where, in the ice wall, he finds a lower half of a humanoid frozen in the ice, standing up. A humanoid figure about his size, so size medium. There is no upper torso. Essentially, it looks like the top portion had been snapped off because it's frozen, and things snap when they're so cold. Flash, frozen. The coins are about 3 to 4 inches in the ice, and the pants, legs, the lower torso, is about 2 inches in the ice wall. Finesse continues along alone through the caverns. Finesse would be able to determine that this is the Southern Ice Cavern. He knows that Pengu Kengu are nomadic, they are native to the tundra, They are primarily friendly and neutral. We go back to Kriv and Winter's part of the party. Winter is full of exhaustion. Kriv is basically keeping the whole party protected, keeping everyone warm as Finesse went and wandered off. So Kriv would then start to see the mob of 50 and growing numbers of Pengu Kengu coming towards the party, and Kriv goes to greet the mass of Pengu Kengu. And the mass of Pengu Kengu just come up and inspect Kriv. They are non-aggressive. Kengus as a species cannot formulate original speech. They are inflicted with that curse and the ability to not fly. So they mimic things that they've heard. The Pengu Kengu can use tools. They can form tribes. Elevated cavemen. So Kriv all of a sudden has a burst, and he raises one arm all the way up, and he says, "Hiya!" Kriv throws up his arm as high as he can, and he gives a very loud, "Hiya!" And as Kriv does that, the Pengu Kengu, all of their beaks lift up, and they take a moment to understand what he did and said. And a moment later, there's a huge wave of Pengu Kengu. They go, "Hiya!" And that echoes through the ice caverns. And Ness hears it where he is at too. And then after that simple interaction, they start filtering back into the cave. Winter has actually had dealings with these creatures before. Winter gets up and looks at Kriv and asks, making some friends? And Kriv is just laughing as he watches the Pengu Kengu walk away. One Pengu Kengu stays, the most individualistic Pengu Kengu. He has scars on his wing arms and across his throat, as though those were old wolf scars. This unique Kengu is the leader of this pod, the chief. So the Pengu Kengu would lift up its wing arm and say, "Hi!" In communication, Winter would pat his chest and say his name. Winter would point to Kriv and say, "Kriv." The one Pengu Kengu would get the idea, pat his chest, and say, "Wolfgang." Winter introduces the party, rescue. After hearing the word rescue, Wolfgang stands up straight, repeats the word rescue, and he actually turns back, waving for the party to follow, and heads back to follow the rest of the Pengu Kengu. Winter informs Kriv that they should follow the Pengu Kengu. Kriv replies, the more important question is, can the Pengu Kengu play Simon Says? And Winter would say, you would probably lose. They are very good at it. He still wants to see how long it can go for. For Finesse, every time the Pengu Kengu would copy the party, he would jump, look around, freaked out by the loud noise, because what is coming? And Winter also doesn't like the loud noises because he's afraid the stalactites will fall. Collectively, the party at the entrance follow the Pengu Kengu through the choke point. All except Big Boy because he's too big. He's a large creature. Where Finesse is a dry, non-cold, and it is very quiet in the caverns. Back with the party and the Pengu Kengu. The Pengu Kengu have fish that are stored there. There is an ice hole of water, which you can see the Pengu diving into. They are not afraid of the cold waters at all. There is an area where there's a fire brazier and furs and pelts to keep warm for a little luxury in the cold cave, and this mass of Pengu Kengus are there. Kriv visits Best Boy outside of the choke point and leaves him many bunny buns. Winter mentions that Kriv hit this thing in the face and he's gonna walk away with the companion. Despite the fact that Kriv hit Best Boy in the face with magic missile, Best Boy is starting to warm up to Kriv. His cold hurt and comfort for a reason. Finesse continues to walk along the icy path, alone. 10 minutes of me revealing the map because of Fog of War. Finesse also, besides glittering coins in the ice, he does find frozen body pieces along his trail. The leather that was on the lower legs that Finesse found was wearing his mother. Finesse's mother had brought out an entire party to investigate the southern ice caverns. Finesse is traveling in the silence. He only has his quiet footsteps on the ice. He turns the corner of an ice wall. Beyond the corner of that ice wall is a white dragon of large size. Finesse is staring at the white dragon. The white dragon is staring at Finesse. And the dragon tilts its head. In the 4 languages that Finesse knows, he says, I mean you no harm. In common, the white dragon says, serve me, or you will be my lunch. Serve you how? Submit to me as your new master. Copious amounts of time was given to the player, calculating how much he effed this up. 5 minutes was given to the player to figure out what they were going to do. Do you submit, or are you my dinner? What if I could take you to a place where there is more food than I? I'm not starved. I have caches of food. But I could use more servants. So can I show you? Will you come? I will not. Submit yourself to me. The ice tunnel that the dragon is in is far too small for the dragon to extend its wings and fly. Finesse prays to Aguta and then his mother. As Finesse prays to Aguta in his head, Finesse would hear his mother's voice calling him back down the pathway he had come. You better get your ass in this house. Winter's player is now the official voice of Finesse's mother. Finesse has this visual in his head, informing him to come back to the Pengu. Finesse hits the dragon with a natural 20. Finesse uses one of his fiery runes to stun the dragon. The white dragon is restrained for this turn. Finesse runs down the icy cavern, passing all the dead limbs and coins. Everyone in the cavern hears the dragon's roar of anger and frustration. Best Boy hears this, runs out of the icy cavern mouth. The Pengu all make sure they are past the choke point in their little safe hidey hole. Finesse runs. The dragon breaks free of the magical shackles and chases. The room with all the Pengu is a fire brazier which lights up their room, but not the mouth of the cavern. The dragon has been unable to use its ice breath because of all the turns in the ice cave tunnel. At one point, it lunges and hits the wall in order to push off of the wall to continue chasing Finesse, continue the momentum without slowing down around the corner to make that huge last pounce the cat does on a mouse. But as it does, it hits hard against that wall. The cave itself rattles. Several of the stalactites hanging above crash down and hit the dragon, disrupting its momentum. For a moment, it stops chasing Finesse. Finesse is able to make it the rest of the way into the Pengu cavern, past the little choke point for safety. Finesse comes in and warns everyone, there's a white dragon. No one get back. But no shit, Sherlock. White dragon, gaining back a moment of clarity in its head, moves to the mouth of the cave, and then looks to the choke point where Finesse went in. The white dragon huffs. It sits there. The white dragon sits there to make mental calculations. About 10 minutes before it decides to leave the ice cave. Winter's players immediately having concerns about Best Boy who ran out of the ice cave. Kriv rolls insight on the white dragon. He gets the understanding that the dragon sitting there to make its calculations is that the dragon knows it has neighbors, the Pengu, and has already taken into account for the choke point, and that the mouse is in the hole, and it was just checking to see if the mouse would come out of the hole before the white dragon went on its way. In the furs, the cavern with the Kengu, someone sleeping. Nice would see this person sleeping and immediately recognizes it as his mother, a black tiefling. She's covered up in furs, she's nice and warm. The Pengu seems to have been taking good care of her. Finesse drops his bag, drops his axes on the floor. He crawls under the pelts and falls asleep next to his mommy. He's taking a short rest. The players have found a hovel of safety among the Pengu community, and for the moment they seem to have just accepted them into their pod without question. They've allowed Winter to curl up on the pelts too, the rest they've offered fish. The DM calls a long rest and ends this session here. It would be known to Finesse that elves cannot be put to sleep magically, but that would be picked up in the next game, which is Saturday, November 28th at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Come watch the next episode on Twitch TV, Dammit Jonah. Let's see what everyone does next. Welcome, welcome.